and this one is named Glowen, and it was built by Civil Pinch of Tiverton and has been lined out by Amy Goodwin. Her dad owns the Showman's engine, the Gladiator, and Amy's still keeping a hand in with lining work on these engines and fairground rides, etc. Now owned by Rob and Julie Gill of St Callum.
Here's our first of the full-size engines coming in, and it's a Fowler tractor called Firefly, owned by David Boyling of Budinnick in Cornwall. It was owned by, I think it was his grandfather in earlier times, and George Hawkins had this tractor. He sold it out of the county, regretted his decision, and eventually a few years after that he was able to bring it back to Budinnick, and it's now passed to David. Over the last couple of years it's had quite a intense overhaul, boiler work, etc. It was originally in Showman's form before the restoration, but it's being driven around in road loco form at the moment. Quite a nippy machine, the Fowler tractor. They're quite capable of speeds of 10, 12 miles an hour and even faster.
And that following Firefly is another 4-inch scale barrel, and this one's called Boundless, and she's part of the Steam Traction World kit, and it was started in 2016. It's owned by Jason and Stuart Elway of Callington in Cornwall.
So that's 3 Showman's engines working in the fairground. We've got other engines working in the working section. We've got 2 driving saw benches, 1 driving a stone crusher, and another driving a thrashing machine. And there's also a portable engine in the working section driving a stationary baler as well. So when you head down that way, you'll see some more steam actually working. Now we've got a Marshall coming up the home straight, shall we say. Its name is Maverick. It's owned by Sean Anthony of Torbay Steam. It's got the sort of outlook of a very old engine, but it's not. It's actually 1925. Single cylinder. And as it goes around, you'll see that the boiler bands, not like the usual brass, they are aluminium. Very few engines that I know have an aluminium boiler band. That one's being followed by a Fowler engine. Fowlers were built in Leeds. This one's known as the Farmer's Friend. It's owned by the Moore family, but it's been in the long-term custodianship of Jeff Westlick, being driven by, not sure who's driving it at the moment, but it's Rosemary, the steers lady. So Jeff always presents this engine in immaculate condition. And I well remember doing a day's thrashing or reed combing with this engine as the motive power. Here comes the marshal around the commentary box. And the marshal's fitted with rubber tyres, or shall I say, quad tracks. Originally it has strakes on the wheels, but those strakes are metal. They do grip a little bit, but they are a very, very rough ride, and they cause a bit of damage to the tarmac as well. So we've got quad tracks which came from tractors. When the tyres, or the quad track tyres, wear slightly, they're no further use on the tractors, but they make excellent tyres for the steam engines. They also look the part as well, because they maintain the look of the original straight.
And that's followed by the 16 scale Burrell Gold Medal tractor, which is quite new, built in 21, and it was built in India and purchased from Brixham in 2023. It's owned and exhibited by Clayton and Buckfastly.
Now, the first steamroller to enter the ring is the Robey, and it's probably something to do with the Robey Trust at Tavistock. Robey didn't build a lot of steamrollers, and the main ones that they built were actually, they weren't 3-point rollers like this one. They were tandem or tri-tandem, which means the rolls are behind each other rather than one roll at the front and 2 rolls at the back at either side. So it's unusual to see the Robey 3-point roller. If you mention steam engines to most people, the first thing they think about is a steam roller. Gosh, we've got a whole army of miniatures following the steam roller, so Sandy's going to have her work cut out now.
Well, I have to take one closest to me, that's number 6, and that is the Foster traction engine, and that's owned by Paul Clapham of Saltash. And number 20 is Pete Kemp's Foster, another Foster engine.
Lovely little canopy on that one, Sandy.
Isn't it beautiful? It's a 3/4 size canopy. In Pete for many years had a 2-inch, and it's gone upscale.
This next one coming in front of the box got a really, really high chimney. What's that for?
So he doesn't get smoke in his eyes.
Oh, is that what it is? See, they're notoriously hard to draw the fire on some of these little miniatures, so that's why you see some of them going around with extended chimneys, and it does certainly keep the smoke out of your eyes as well. Oh, here's a little special in front of us, a scenic Burrell. Showman's engine, but with 2 dynamos. Some of the big fairground rides were very difficult to actually start up, especially when they were loaded and the cars were on the base of the hills on the ride. So the engine couldn't really deal with it with its ordinary dynamo. So the secondary dynamo, which is situated behind the chimney, provides an extra boost to the dynamo that's on the front, and it enables the engine to start the ride. There's another full size coming up towards the commentary box. This one's an ex-Dingles engine. Dingles were a firm from Cornwall, from Stoke Climsland in Cornwall, and they were mainly rolling contractors, but they also had one or two traction engines as well. This one's called Jubilee. It's 1920, I think, was its age, with a lovely AS Cornish registration, AS 6001, and it's sporting the Aveling and Porter emblem of the rampant horse on the front of the smoke box. It's owned at the moment by a chap called Dave Knott, who isn't with us today. It's being looked after by Mike Hassan and his friends. Compound engine, which means it's got two cylinders, a high pressure and a low pressure. This engine would have been used on agricultural tasks such as thrashing corn. And the Aveling is followed by Billie. Billie is a single crank compound Burrell Devonshire type engine. Probably the oldest single crank compound on the rally field at the moment. It was built in not 1985, but 1895. It's owned, I think, by Dave Nicholson. And a very young, pretty driver going around there. Good to see the younger people coming on and taking over driving and looking after these engines, because we've got to have continuity of ownership. I've got to remind people that the rally site is governed by the rules of the road. So anybody on a mobile phone when they're driving could be prosecuted. So we do hope there's no police around the site. Otherwise, Sean, we'd get you. Oh, he's so engrossed in his phone call, he doesn't hear me. There we are, that's the Marshall Maverick making its second trip around. And we're followed by another Burrell, double crank compound Burrell called Excelsior, owned by the Dicker family, and that one's been the subject of an in-depth restoration and paintwork, and as you see as it's coming around, it's in really good order, really good condition.
He's a rescue, and he's still learning dog yet.
Followed by the Robey steamroller once again.
But he just wants to jump about and play. Yeah, he's obviously.
And then we've got a couple of Aveling steamrollers following on as well. Now, you will see a lot of Aveling steamrollers on the rally field, and that's because Aveling and Porter manufactured more steamrollers than all of the other manufacturers put together. And the steamrollers had a lot longer working life than the agricultural engines, because they could still do a useful job of work rolling the road, whereas in agriculture, diesel engine tractors would take over from the steam engines. So the first of the Avelings coming around was an ex-single engine, got the Cornish registration of RL 1085, being driven by Will Friend, and is owned by Roger Pridham. Now I'm going to say Roger Pridham of Lamerton. He might have moved since I knew about him last, but Roger was a boiler maker. I think he's well retired now, but still got the Aveling engine. Now the next Aveling coming around is a new acquisition for its owner. Peter Brooks has long been into miniature steam, but now he's graduated into the full size. And he's coming around with his E-type Aveling roller. Sounds good, doesn't it, an E-type? But it's only a model, not like your Jag. It's a piston valve engine. Engines come either with slide valves or piston valves, and there are advantages and disadvantages to both types. Sometimes it's said that to drive a piston valve is a lot harder than to drive an engine fitted with slide valves, but that's open to debate. Here comes Tristan with his Foden overtype steam wagon in sort of tractor form. Tristan comes down from Cardiff. He travels this one quite a long distance. Steam wagons and steam tractors basically took over in a way from your road locomotives pulling a set of trailers, because with the steam wagon you could put a load actually on the engine itself, and it could also pull a trailer as well. And they had a good turn of speed. This one, empty, will probably go sort of 15, 18 miles an hour, and that would be reduced to maybe 10 to 12 miles an hour if it was loaded.
That's Tony Devale at Honiton.
Just looking at Billie as it comes around again, the type of tyres that are fitted to the rear wheels. We've had the quad tracks on some of the engines that come around, which look like the straight, but these are agricultural tyres actually cut to fit the back wheels. And they're put on for, shall I say, smoothness on the road, and also a little bit of grip in the field. Even with straights, you don't get a lot of grip. So in the times when the engines were working, they were fitted with cleats or spuds. I don't know that we've got any example of an engine on the site today with a full row of spuds hanging off the front of the engine, but these spuds were clamped to the wheels to get extra grip. But even so, in some cases, even with the spuds on, the engine couldn't get the thrashing machine into the stackyard. So they would have to use a wire rope winch, which is situated behind the left-hand rear wheel. So they managed to get the engine into the stackyard, run out the wire rope, and then winch the thrashing machine and maybe the baler into position, and then they would put the rope away and then set the engine to the thrashing machine ready for work. So that's Billie going around. So anybody who can hear me, start the whistle going. Well, that was a very subdued affair compared to yesterday. They never know when to stop though, do they? There's always one has to have the last whistle to talk about the tractors. So I'm going to sign off for today. I will be down at the working section this afternoon, giving a little commentary and introduction down there. So I might see you down there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. And I'll be here at 3 o'clock, or quarter to 3 rather, with another set of ring events, which is usually invitation steering. So if you'd like to come back to the ring for a go on one of these engines. 2:45, they'll be back in the ring.
Give me that skinny toilet